All right, President Trump, he promised you, the American people, the most transparent administration in our country's history. His cabinet members are upholding that promise. Now, Tulsi Gabbard announced a new intelligence community task force with the goal of restoring transparency. She told Fox News that the task force wants to, quote, rebuild trust in the intelligence community, execute the tasks required by President Trump's intelligence-related executive orders. And the director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is with us now. First of all, I've got to say, I'm so glad you're doing this. It's called the Directors Initiative Group, and your group has already reviewed documents for declassification, including information related to the origins of COVID, JFK, RFK, MLK, the assassinations, those files, the Trump-Russia collusion investigation, the Biden administration, their domestic surveillance, censorship, FISA abuse. I mean, you're going deep, hard in the paint to get everything out before the American people. Not as easy a lift as some people think, though. Can you explain that part?
Yeah. Thank you, Sean. It's good to be here on your show and really featuring the work that we're doing here at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. You know, the American people's trust in the intelligence community has been eroded and undermined really for decades. There have been intelligence failures, abuses of power, weaponization and politicization of the intelligence that the community provides. You talked about some of the examples of the things that our team that is made up of some of the most talented intelligence officers across the community who love our country and who have been so disgusted and betrayed by leaders who have weaponized it to serve their own political or personal interests. You've gone down a list of many of the things that we're doing. I'll mention a few here. First, you're right. It's not just as simple as saying, okay, hey, go and find these documents. We'll declassify them and release them tomorrow. As you can imagine, the more we dig, the more we find. And we see how people are sometimes, in some cases, resistant to providing us with those documents. In other cases, they have been hidden with the hopes that no one would ever find them. Related to the Senator Kennedy assassination files, the MLK assassination files, unlike the JFK files, these have never been scanned. They've never been digitized. These are pieces of paper, hundreds and thousands of them, that have been sitting in boxes at the National Archives and Records Agency. So we've had over 100 people manually scanning every one of these pages, preparing them to fulfill what President Trump promised the American people: maximum transparency and the release of these files that have never been released publicly before. We're not stopping there. We know that not all of those documents have been turned over to the National Archives Agency, and so we've got teams out there going and searching in warehouses at the FBI, at the CIA, and other places to uncover related documents that for one reason or another were never turned over before. So President Trump is very serious, obviously, about working to achieve that maximum transparency. That transparency will allow us to bring about accountability around the Russia collusion hoax, for example. The more we dig, the more we find. The extent of the seriousness and the intent of that whole operation was very consistent with what we found in Stalin's operation. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. It is disheartening to see these things, but it also provides us the opportunity to tell the American people the truth about what's been going on so that we can make sure we try to bring about an end to it and bring about that accountability.
So I think everybody knows by now we were lied to about COVID. We were told, yes, if you take the shot, you're never going to get COVID. You won't be able to transmit it to other people. How did that lie work out? Not too well. We were lied about the origins of COVID. We've been lied to about a lot of different things. FISA abuse, and they surveilled Donald Trump using something that the FBI was warned about. James Comey signed 3 of the FISA warrants. He was warned in August of 2016 that they were bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton, and it was a dirty Russian disinformation dossier. And then when they found out, they never went back to the FISA court. Is anyone ever going to be held accountable for abusing power to that level?
Well, that's the goal, Sean. That's the goal, is to find the evidence, find the documentation that proves this to be true. We've seen little bits and pieces of it that have been released publicly so far, but not anywhere near the extent of what the intent was behind this whole Russia collusion hoax. Obviously, the president was their #1 target. And there were also many other people around President Trump who were also targeted simply because they were friends of his or family members of his. We are digging deep to find everything that has been related to this. And I guarantee you there are some U.S. attorneys who are eager to see what we are finding, and in some cases are already working their own cases to bring about that necessary accountability. If no one is ever held accountable, we are going to continue to see this weaponization, politicization of the intelligence community, our law enforcement, the Department of Justice. And as you know, Sean, it completely undermines the rule of law and the American people's ability to have any trust whatsoever in these foundational principles of our country. And that's what we're trying to restore, that trust.
At the end of the day, you are trying to restore constitutional order and return
That's right.
to our intelligence community, or return the intelligence community to its former greatness. At one point, we had the greatest intelligence on the face of the earth. Now, apparently, we get hacked by China and Iran and Russia on a regular basis. You know, the first few times, it's shame on them. Then at some point, if we remain hackable, isn't it become shame on us?
Yeah, there are a lot of issues that we're taking on here and that I'm focused on. We could go down the list of failures. One that really hits home for me and many people who I served with in the military was the original intelligence failure that led us into war with Iraq. So I'm very focused on this every day, and our intelligence community needs to refocus on our core national security mission.
All right, Tulsi, great job. Please keep us updated.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Sean.
it.